We are just 3 days into the year of our Lord 2021. And I wasn't able to be with you all at the end of this year on the fourth Sunday, as for the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, I've not been able to be present with you on the fourth Sunday because of scheduling necessities in New York. They like to have me bring the year out, and then they do a burning bowl on the first Sunday to bring the year in. I do my burning bowl at midnight on the final day of the year. And so I did a wonderful burning bowl. I decided this year to just write it on a piece of tissue paper, Kleenex, so that I could burn it inside without creating a bunch of smoke. And so I wouldn't have to go outside and get all bundled up at midnight to go out there and do it. And it worked out beautifully. I was grateful that my list of things I have chosen to let go of and be done with and move on from it's a list that gets shorter and shorter every year, because I'm taking care of a lot of important business, working on myself, working on my own mind, working on my own heart. I'm forever being reminded that I am my own project. And so the more attention and time I give to assuming that I'm in any way in charge of someone else as my project, I'm just gently reminded through a whisper in my ear, you're your own project. Whenever I find myself minding someone else's business, they should be doing this, or they should stop doing that, or any of that kind of stuff. Voice just gently whispered in my ear, hey, Rev, mind your own business. Your mind is your business, not his mind, not her mind, not their mind. Your mind is your own business. It requires your full attention. I have written a book, and one of the chapters in that book is Tending the Garden of Your Mind. Reverend Robin has brought us a beautiful meditation about the attention, the loving care that needs to be given to any garden, whether it's a flower garden, a vegetable garden, a garden of cannabis, a garden of herbs. Whatever the garden is, it needs careful tending. It needs weeding. It needs watering. In the weeding of the garden, we need to always remember to do what Brother Bob's text to me reminded us of, that there can be no baggage. So we must weed the garden of our mind. On December of each year, I begin a very deep self-assessment. I take a very deep look at the guy that I am and how I have lived that year, what I've made important. Because there's one thing I know, that there is nothing that is of its own important. It's what do I make important? A Course in Miracles has taught me way back at the beginning of 1970s that I will see what I'm looking for. The Course in Miracles has taught me that everything is meaningless and that it only has the meaning I give to it. And so in December, I began to look, what have I given meaning to this year? What have I made important this year? What have I been devoted to this year? It was revealed to me as a child that devotion is worship. And when I think about our call to worship God and worship God alone, to worship the author and the finisher of all life, to worship the giver of all things good, it means keep your attention on it. It means for you to recognize, Carlos, that what you have your attention focused on is what you're worshiping. I found out that unbeknownst to me, I was worshiping many things other than God. I had my attention on so many of the things that were disturbing to me. I remember asking that voice one day, so do you mean to say that everything I have kept my mind on and that is given me some kind of emotional reaction to is me worshiping that thing? Yes, exactly, said the voice. What you allow to take up residence in your mind, what you allow to take up residence in your heart, what you give your attention to, what you talk about, what you spread news to others about, that's what you're worshiping, buddy. Well, that shook me awake. Sometimes the universe gives me a little whisper to wake me up. And sometimes the whispers of the universe fail to wake me up. And so the universe then speaks right out loud, wake up. And sometimes just speaking right out loud fails to wake me up. And so the universe shouts, hoping that will wake me up. And there are times where the universe, even shouting out loud, fails to wake me up. So the universe grabs me by the shoulders and gives me what I call a shake awake. I've had many a shake awake in my life. And I assume that you perhaps have had many a shake awake in yours as well. And so I've learned to listen when the Spirit whispers. If I listen when it whispers, it won't have to shout. And it sure won't have to grab me by the shoulders and give me no shake awake. So every year in December, once again, a self-assessment at the deepest levels. What have I chosen to see this year? What have I chosen to look at this year? And what judgment have I placed on what I see, what I notice, and what I'm looking at intentionally? I'm reminded of what I have been taught by the Course in Miracles since it first came out in the early 70s. If God is in my mind, then God is in everything I see. But if God is not in my mind, God is not in anything I look upon. Because the world is a mirror. It's a reflection of what I believe, what I think, what I expect, what I am looking to see. So when God is in my mind, God is in everything I see. Every year that passes, I credit myself for my growth. More and more and more and more. It is simply easy for me to notice God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. The year 2020, the year of our Lord, one of the most blessing-filled years of my lifetime. A year in which blessings were bestowed upon me to a greater degree than any other 3 years combined have bestowed upon me. I was blessed to grow. I was blessed to be born again, and then born again, and then born again, and then born again. Thanks to how often I was led to by the picture of separation being displayed in this country and around the world. This year exposed so much division, so many pictures of separation and disconnection, so much hatred and bitterness, racism, violence, murder, a pandemic, worldwide, mind you, a car accident that nearly took my life. How blessed I have been this year. They wiped out 30 years of my patios, flower gardens, vegetable gardens, fire pits, trees I had planted in honor of the deaths of all of my loved ones who have gone before me. Trees that have represented them, bushes. Beautiful 31 years of my labor wiped out. How good God has been to me, offering me a new beginning. There are people in my life who think something went wrong on February 9th of last year when I left my meeting after church at Unity in the City and then hit black ice and broke my body in so many places. My brother Timothy had told me when I left for church February 9th, you leave immediately after church. There is a storm coming between 2 and 2:30 in this area. You leave right after church and get home safe. Bring our precious cargo home safe. And then I chose to stay for, at first, just a little bit of the meeting because I wanted to be in the company of my sister, Reverend Robin. And that would be my first opportunity to. I wanted to know her. And so I stayed, thinking it would just be for a little while to hear my sister. And then I would get on the highway and hope to beat the storm home. But the meeting was too important to me. It was too important to me for me to jet early because my brother Raleigh asked me to speak a little bit on what I believe and know about the blessing bestowed upon the giver of tithes and offerings to the source of their spiritual food. I had to stay and honor that request because I know, like so many people don't know, that the blessing bestowed upon me when I give my tithes and my offerings are unspeakable. I wanted you to know that my mom got the kids started when we were tiny little things on giving tithes. We resisted. We didn't understand the law. She said, just try it. See how it makes you feel. If it doesn't make you feel good about yourself, stop. But I want you to give it a month or two. Well, all four of us were so happy at how we felt, giving 10% of our little $5 that we had earned that week, or our $3 or whatever. It made us feel great. It made us feel important. It made us feel like that we were actually working for the creator of the universe. We were taught, keep the 90%. That's what God would like you to have to do what you want with. But just try giving the 10%. Not because God needs it, God is everything. Just do it to see how it makes you feel. See if it will not open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. Too much for you to keep for yourself. You'll have to give it away. Too big will be the blessing for you to hold in both hands. Well, all four of us high-fived and gave Mama all the dap for what she had turned us on to. When we were comfortable tithing, Mama called all four of us into the kitchen. She said, I got another thing I would like you to try. If you think giving your 10% makes you feel like you feel, which I know it does, I'd like you to consider giving an offering above your tithe. An offering above my tithe? You mean give more than 10%? What does God want with my? No, not for God. God is everything. I'm positioning the four of you to be in the flow of blessing. It has an intake and it has an outflow. The intake will always be open because that's what God is doing. The outflow knob is up to you. Just try adding an offering on top of your blessing. See how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel poorer, like something's missing, you can stop. But I don't think that's what you're in for. And so we began the practice of giving an offering above and beyond our tithe. Boy, were we happy at how we felt. We felt like if God is a corporate president, we are working on the board. We are investors in this company. And that stock is going to keep on increasing in value. Mama and Daddy taught us all of the important things I would ever need to know to live a life of blessedness. I got to loving giving my offerings above my tithes so much that during my adult life, my way has been to have my offering be twice my tithe. Not always because I've got an overflow. I've confessed to you all, I don't have no savings account. How I live is give me this day my daily bread. Surely goodness and mercy have followed me all the days of my life. What I've discovered in giving my tithe of a tenth and then doubling that tenth as an offering is that it has never, ever led me to have less. It has always allowed me to have more than enough. Sometimes I feel like that little boy on the hill where Jesus is preaching. And he's preaching for hours and hours and hours. And one of his disciples comes and says, my Lord, you've had these folks here all morning. It's past noon. They got to be hungry. You're giving them spiritual food, but these are physical people. They've got to be hungry. We've got to figure out some way to get them fed. Jesus says, go out among them and see if any one of them have anything they'd like to share. And so the disciples went out among the multitude to ask if anybody has anything they would like to share with everybody. They came back with a little boy, little bitty thing, between 6 and 7 years old, I see him. And he's got a basket. And Jesus squats down and said, what are you here for? He said, they said you need somebody to share what they have. Well, Mama made me a lunch because she figured sometime you get to talking and you talk all day. What's in your basket? I have 3 fish and 5 loaves. Here, they're yours. Do with them whatever you see fit. I know it's not much. And Jesus says, shh, it's more than enough. And he prayed on it, and it was multiplied. And all of the people were fed. Sometimes I feel like I'm as happy as that little kid had to be to see that what I have given has been multiplied by the Creator, that all the multitude might have their sustenance. That's what I signed up for. I signed up to be like that kid, knowing I have more than enough. So I had to stay at that meeting to give my testimony. I had to be there with my sister, Reverend Robin, for us to encourage one another, to run on, to see what the end's going to be. That was my title in New York last Sunday. I believe I'll run on. And church is true. I believe I'll run on. Even through the valley of the shadow of so-called death, I believe I'll run on through that valley and run on through the mountaintop and run on through the wilderness and run on in the darkness and run on in the light of the sun. I believe I'll run on. And this I know because I need to know. And I'm glad I know. I won't always run on with bubbling over enthusiasm in the prime of health and joy, and everything's going right. And I won't always run on with all of my strength and all of my aliveness. No, not always, but I believe I'll run on. And so the scripture that helps me with this, I've shared with you before. The race is not given to the swift. Neither is it given to the strong, but to we who endure to the end. I'm going to run on. I'm going to endure to the end, through thick and thin, through sun and rain, through trial and triumph, through it all. I've had many tears and sorrows, many questions for tomorrow. Many times I could not tell right from wrong. Oh, but through every situation, God gives me blessed consolation and lets me know my trials come to make me strong. So yes, I thank God for the mountain and I thank God for the valley. I thank God for all the trials I've made it through. Church, check it out. If I had never had a problem, how could I ever know that God could solve them? How would I know what faith in God can do? My accident was no accident. It pleased my Creator to have me stay for that meeting. It pleased my Creator to have my car hit black ice. It pleased my Creator that I had no control over that car. It pleased my Creator that it leapt off the highway and into a tree at 70 plus miles per hour. It pleased my Creator that the car crumbled around me. It pleased my Creator that I broke 5 ribs, my right elbow, my right collarbone, my left jawbone in 2 places, and my neck. It pleased my Creator that 6 perfect strangers stopped their cars on the highway side and ran to do everything they could with every ounce of strength in them to get me out of that car. I told you what tickled me in the moment was that they were all white. And they were pushing the door and pulling on the door and trying to break through the back window. And I have had my car surrounded by white people 6 other times, and it was never to give me no help. They were trying to get me out of that car to do me great harm. And I'm there, I'm broken up. I have a concussion. These people are fighting for my life, banging on my car, and I'm going, God, you're awesome. They're all white people doing the opposite of what other white people have done when I've been in my car. They're trying to help me. It pleased my Creator that the ambulance paramedic asked me, "What do you do for work, sir?" And I said, "I'm a minister." And he said, "That explains it. This ambulance is filled with angels. I'm able to see them all my life. You're going to be okay, sir." It pleased my Creator that they eventually got me out and to a hospital where more loving hands were waiting to receive me. I got the right team of surgeons. And when I was laying for those months in the hospital, even though my pain was excruciating and my concussion was causing its issues, I had a smile on my face 90% of my waking hours, saying, "God, you're so good to me. God, you love me so much. You done broke me up so you can put me back together. You done tore up my 21-year-old car to force me to get a better one. You're awesome. And I got out of the hospital, and shortly thereafter, I was being told that my whole outside sanctuary had to be wiped out for a new septic. The guy said, I know this must break your heart. I said, no, it doesn't, brother. He said, I understand some of these trees you planted in honor of your loved ones who have died. I said, yes, I did. He said, well, maybe you can plant some more. I said, no, I don't need to. Those trees are in me. I can see those trees every time I close my eyes. My people know how much I love them. And I guess 31 years of this setup has been all God wanted me to have. I just got to see what God's planning for me to do with this empty slate now. I said, brother, listen. He said, you're getting this news. I see you're all broken up. You got your neck brace on. You can barely. He said, whoa. He said, you just must be sad that this is going on. I said, brother, man, I'm just too happy to be sad. I'm just too doggone happy to be sad. And my sister called me a few days ago to say she had been diagnosed with cancer. Wow, dude, you're getting hit with so much. I said, I am being called to grow so much. I have never spent this many hours in meditation, in concentration, in dedication to praising my God as this year. I have never spent so many hours of my time affirming that no matter what it looks like, God is in charge of the universe. God is in charge of my life. I got prayed up and stayed up this year. There was so much appearance of darkness. Caused me to remember. God told me when I was a teenager, boy, don't you know you're a flashlight? Oh, God, there's so much darkness. I know, that's why I made you a flashlight. Click yourself on, boy. Shine away the darkness. Didn't my son tell you you're the light of the world? Well, what do you think that means? Don't mean you complain about the darkness. You shine it away. That's why I born you. You are the light of the world. Go find yourself some darkness and shine it away. Try that one on. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Then come back and talk to me about how much darkness is in the world and what you think about it. This is your opportunity. The Chinese coin, danger or opportunity. So much opportunity this year for me to remember who I am and whose I am and what I got in my medicine bag. And how much attention and time it takes to deal with the garden of my mind, to till the soil with trust, to do my weeding, to do my watering. I never had a year that has inspired me to be more of who I am than this year, ever. I've never had a year that has caused me to use everything I can, to be all that I can, to stay in heaven in the appearance of hell. Never. A year of opportunity for me to be more than I've ever needed to be. Wow. I sure didn't get to stay in no comfort zones this year. Nary a one, as the old folks used to say, meaning not a single one. Nary a one comfort zone was I able to take rest in. Comfort zone, you know, is a dead zone. You just can't grow in a comfort zone. And so being outside of any comfort zone, I was destined to grow. I'm way more than I was in January of 2020. If you want that diamond to shine, you better polish it with something abrasive. If you want your pots and pans gleaming, don't just run a rag over them. Get yourself a scouring pad. It'll take that burnt grease off of them pans. It may look like you're giving that pan the rough treatment using a scouring pad, but trust me, you're making it shine. What is a diamond anyway? A lump of coal put under immense and constant pressure. And so this year, I so often have said right out loud, God sure is making a diamond out of me. I thought I already was a diamond, but apparently I was just a diamond in the rough. Because God's working to shine me up, give me some sparkle. I thought I was pretty sparkly, but apparently not enough. God done kicked me out of my dead zone. Kicked me out of my dead zone. Snatched my complaints out of my mouth. Took my focus off of what the politicians are doing and reminded me that I am the president of my own state of mind. I'm the governor. How am I governing my state of mind? How am I presiding over my own mind? I did not get a rest. This 2020 didn't let me rest. It didn't let me chill and lay back. Wow. What a blessed year for Reverend Carlos Wayne Anderson. What a blessed year. Boy, how I grew. Wow, how I grew. I feel like I got an accelerated course in mind management that was worth $3,000 and was given to me for free. They just let me in at the door. I told them I hadn't paid. Come on in. This will be just what you need. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. On the final day, I had a group of my spiritual friends and family from Hope Church to get on a Zoom with me with one assignment. Bring each of you a testimony of a good news blessing that you have received direct from God in the year of our Lord, 2020. It was one of the most beautiful and holy gatherings, the perfect way to end my year before doing my burning bowl at midnight. We all got that we got some big fat blessings this year. And I was given much thanks for extending that opportunity for people to find one and to give testimony in a cloud of witnesses. How good God is. One day you are going to be in private, and you're going to be saying, when it looks like something went wrong, you're going to be remembering what I said today, and you're going to get a smile on your face, and you're going to say, God, you love me so much. God, you have given me so much. It pleased my Creator that all of my seeming losses this year may have been material losses, but they gave me heavenly treasure. The continuing renewing of my mind, the transformation of my thoughts. Whatever you have, it's more than enough. I tell many of my people, when you read these inspiring stories in the Bible, when you are inspired by anyone who you read there, including this little kid, remind yourself that you are that person. I just go, look at me giving away my fishing loaves. Look at me helping the Samaritan to get, I'm the Samaritan that helped the guy that got beat up and paid his rent, told him to take care of him. I'm the woman at the well. I thought my life story was who I am. And then he came along and told me, you're not your story. You are so not your story. You're the child of God in whom God is well pleased, period. You're not your story. Identify with anyone, whether in the scriptures, in your life, in your library of books. When you are inspired by someone, I think you are being inspired because you are resonating with the knowing, I am that person. The scriptures speak of you, how you were lost and are made found, how you were blind and have been made to see, how you were on the outside and got welcomed in. How blessed we are. The Aramaic word for I am blessed, we are blessed, you are blessed, all is blessed, is T-U-B-W-A-Y-H-U-N. T-U-B-W-A-Y-H-U-N. It's pronounced Tuvaihun, Tuvaihun, Tuvaihun. I am blessed beyond measure. You are blessed beyond measure. And so I couldn't wait to get to you today to tell you how blessed I have been in 2020, because you've seen it from the outside. You know some of my story, and you may think that my story is me and that my losses and disappointments have made me be something. And I want you to know they made me be more committed. They've made me be more conscious. They made me be more aware. They've made me be more about remembering I am my own project and to tending to the garden of my own mind. Wow, what a seminar. What a year-long retreat for spiritual growth. I love you one by one and name by name, and I'm grateful for you one by one and name by name. I'm a better man because God has brought you into my life. And I am certainly a more dedicated minister because God has brought you into my life. I ask that you would know that I am not that guy who likes to jog by himself through the wilderness and through the woods and along the streets. I like to jog with some partners. I like to run with other people. I've already told you, I believe I'll run on. Won't you run with me? We're going to higher ground. We're going to trade in last year's model of who we were for a newer model. We're going to step into more of who it is possible for us to be. I like running with other people, guys. Run with me. Let's run on and see what the end's going to be. And let's remember together that the race is not given to the swift, neither to the strong, but to we who endure to the end. Boy, have we been models of endurance. Let's keep on being. If I am a blessing to you, even by half of how you are a blessing to me, then I'm a big blessing to you. Thank you for being in my life. Let's do something amazing with the year 2021. We can do anything with it we want. We can look for the good or not. Whatever you do, I'll keep loving you. Because I am the love of God that God came to demonstrate. When I look at Jesus, I pronounce the J with an H sound, the way you would in Spanish. In Spanish, the J is ha, Jesus. So when I look at Jesus and I only change the J sound and I keep the rest like I always say it, it's Jesus. He's us. Jesus. He's us. I got that years ago. OMG, exclamation point. Who is Jesus? He's us. Wow. I'm going to have to dwell on that. Peace and love.